Shalom, family. This is me, Mary C., coming to you yet again with another video. I have a question for you. What do baby formula and guns have in common? Think about that. Well, real quick and simple answer is they're both regulated by the government. I want you to listen to a little snippet from the news channel that is explaining why we have a shortage on baby food. And when that's done, I'll come back and talk with you.
Panicked families are struggling to find formula to feed their babies. A devastating shortage has left supermarket shelves empty across the country. Parents are turning to milk banks and to social media, searching for formula to swap or to buy. 4 companies control 90% of the market. Perrigo makes store-brand formula for companies like Amazon and Walmart. Their CEO tells Reuters he expects the shortage to last the rest of the year. The White House announced several moves today, including a new website aimed at helping parents find formula, hhs.gov/formula. The FDA also announced today it will release plans next week to streamline formula coming from outside the U.S. President Biden defended his administration, brushing off questions over whether he should have acted sooner. He said White House officials are working very hard to bring relief to families.
So they expect the shortage of baby formula to last at least a year. And that is just absolutely awful. So there are, a couple of things that I want to talk to you guys about. Again, I asked the question, what do they have in baby formula and guns have in common? They're both regulated by our government. There are only a handful of producers or manufacturers, companies that actually provide the baby formula. And one of those companies is Abbott, which was closed down by the government because of contamination, bacteria, or something like that, and it was deemed unsafe. So they shut it down. That was one of the major ones. And there's only a handful. I want to say there's 4 other ones, like she was saying in the news report. What I don't understand is why those other 4 are having such a difficult time making up for the lack of what the Abbott, they all didn't get shut down, just the Abbott one. So why are we having such a shortage? It just does not make sense to me. It just doesn't. I don't know about you. It just does not make sense to me. I am going to say the other thing that those 2 have in common, because I want to talk a little bit about the guns and gun-related violence. And, the weather is getting ready to get nice and warm, and that means that gun violence is going to increase. I told you beforehand, crime will increase. It will. I believe that a lot of this is planned. I could be wrong, but I believe a lot of this is planned. They are testing us. I believe they're testing us. So I'm going to kind of go back and forth between the formula and the guns. Not to be mean or rude or anything like that, but how long have we preppers been asking people to put food aside for their families? How long? How long? And it's so many folks out there, crying on the news saying, oh, we've gone to 5 different places and we still can't find formula. Well, you know what? Why didn't you stock up is my question. You have been seeing the writing on the walls. Why didn't you stock up? If you have a baby, why didn't you buy a few, just like you would a few extra cans of corn or peas or whatever? I don't get that part either. We're so dependent on being able to just pop up and, I'm just going to go to the store and pick it up. Well, those days are gone. You're not going to be able to do that any longer. If you had been listening to me from the very beginning, you would have extra baby formula on your shelves in your house. But anyways, I don't want to go over that too much. But I'm a little frustrated because it shouldn't be. You're so dependent on this system. So dependent on this system taking care of you. They're not going to take care of you and your family. You must do what you need to do for yourselves. So anyhow, I think it's all planned. And I'm to the point of I mix the prepping with the biblical, and with the biblical is this. How many of you parents out there would, in desperation, be willing to take that mark so that you could feed your babies? How many? Think about that. How many of you would be willing to bow down to Satan in order to feed your children? Because I can see that that's where we're going. To me, this is a test phase. And so many parents are failing right now. So many are failing. Then the other thing that I want to talk to you about, and I'm kind of, like I said, going to go back and forth, is the gun issue. Okay, the guns. Every time we have these active shooters and, they're shooting in stores or churches or schools or what have you, the first thing that you hear about is, oh, we need more gun control. Well, you know what? I understand rules and regulations. I don't have a problem with that. If they make sense, I don't have a problem. We have rules and regulations for when we drive our cars, right? We do. So that we're safer. But I have yet to hear any government official get on national television and say, we need to have stricter controls over these cars, people in these cars, to keep accidents from occurring. You don't hear anything because, cars kill people too. They do. But you don't hear anyone talking about getting rid of those cars. No. So it just is, it blows my mind when I start hearing people talk about, adding more rules and more regulations to legal. To me, you're punishing the legal gun owners, and that should not be. You're punishing the legal gun owners for crimes of others. And it shouldn't be. But then, this is all my opinion, so I'm just kind of sharing my opinion here. But that's what they have in common. I believe we're because we're at the end of time, that the enemy is going buck wild, and the gun issue is going to be one of those things that, they're right now. To me, it looks like it's trying to go to a racial or ethnic kind of split division, if you will, where they want to divide and conquer, pretty much. And if we sit back and we get angry because a white person did this to a black person, or a black person did this to an Asian person, blah, 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 we're just going to perpetuate that hatred cycle of divisions of races. And I think that's part of the plan. And we have to be smart enough not to fall into that trap. So I think all of this is connected. I think it's all connected and leaning towards biblical end times prophecies. So if they don't aim to take the guns away, then the aim would be to install martial law, so that that would keep you controlled. It's something to think about. Those are my views. And one other thing I wanted to say before I end this video, and that's this. What do you think would happen if this country gets to the point where The shelves are empty. And people are going hungry. And the government officials aren't doing enough, or what the citizens think is enough to correct those issues. What do you think is going to happen in this country? Riots will break out. So here's my thing on the gun plan. They don't want you guys rioting in the streets with guns. They don't want you guys coming after them. So the best thing to do would be to get rid of those guns, especially if they know we're heading down a road where people are going to be starving. So, I mean, I think it's all connected. And again, I think that this is like a test, just to see how many people would be willing to, bow down. I mean, you're hearing about people driving across across towns in order to pick up baby formula. They're willing to pay really crazy prices on Amazon and other places to get this baby formula. So unprepared parents are going to be those same parents who would be willing to take the mark. And that's why I have been saying for the longest to prep. Store up, stock up, and don't stop. Now you see how much you can depend on the government. You can't. And you shouldn't. Get up, get going, stock up. So I'm going to end this like I always do. I know I may sound like I'm fussing, and maybe I am a little bit, but it's a good fuss. It's a fuss to make you get off your butt and go do something to save yourself and your family. But I just want to say this. I do love you guys. I love you, love you, love you. But know this, the Most High, He loves you so much more. Shalom, family.